Now, when it comes specifically to our, retirement planning, which is a lot of what we focus on here on the show, we wanted to discuss 5 mistakes that we really want people to avoid when it comes to their retirement plans, Mike. And the first one is putting off saving for retirement. Don't delay, start today.
This is so true, Matt. So many times I talk to people who are in their 20s and even their 30s and sometimes 40s who are like, Mike, I just can't afford to save for retirement. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, yes, you can. Because if you show me your credit card statements and your bank statements, what I'll do is I'll show you where your priorities lie. Okay. And that tells me that you haven't prioritized paying yourself first. So if you can get into the habit of paying yourself first, it amazes me how much extra money you find to get those bills paid by their due date. But if you wait and pay those bills, it also amazes me how there never seems to be enough money to pay yourself because you're putting yourself last in that list of priorities. Okay. Americans are in trouble when it comes to saving for retirement. Millions of older workers are approaching their golden years, all right, with absolutely nothing saved, which is a tragedy in and of itself, Matt. So if you're listening and you maybe have skimped on saving for retirement this year, now that we're in September, it's understandable, especially given a volatile economy, but it is a mistake. And it's a mistake that you must fix as soon as humanly possible. Fortunately, righting this wrong, Matt, is entirely doable for our listeners.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people might think, Mike, it's too late. I've been, putting it off for so long. But really, there are ways that you can catch up and make up for that lost time. You might not have as much time on your side now, but you can implement strategies and help folks implement strategies in their plan, right? That can actually help them be in a much better place than they would be otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, the first step is recognizing that you have a problem. It's kind of like the first step to AA, right? Acknowledging you have a problem. And I'm just doing that because I've heard it before. I have a lot of good friends that are now sober. But the first step is realizing that, you know what, I have a problem that I need to fix. And then if you're looking for ways to be able to fix your problem, I don't care if you make 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year, or 400 grand a year. All right. I've met 40,000aires who are buttoned up financially, and I've met millionaires who are basically broke and living paycheck to paycheck because they're spending everything that comes in. And, no matter which situation you find yourself in, I've got a solution for you. And all you got to do is pick up a phone and give me a call. All right. Either that or go to the website, Money Matters with Mike, and fill out schedule a consultation, 100% complimentary and no obligation consultation just to see how I can help.
Yeah. And that number, if you want to call, is 704-560-1573, 704-560-1573. Our number 2 mistake that we want you to avoid when it comes to planning for retirement, and this one I know you're big on, Mike, is not building an emergency fund.
Yeah, Matt, we talk about emergency funds very often on the show, and it's because the majority of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck, which is a staggering and sobering statistic, right? But the importance of an actual emergency fund cannot be overstated, okay? And just like with retirement savings, many Americans are behind here as well. Okay. Most Americans, in fact, would not be able to cover an unexpected expense of only $1,000. Okay. Again, it's not really their fault. All right. But they need to try to remedy this, as it will only get more dire as the years go by. All right. Our financial education system is broken in America. And that is mainly the reason that we do the show, to arm folks with this information that they can take and apply to their lives and put themselves in an ultimately much better position than those who don't seek the knowledge. Okay. As years go by, though, the chances of unexpected expenses increase, Matt, which means that you want to have at least 6 to 12 months, and I really prefer 9 to 12 months, or heck, let's just call it 12 months of an emergency fund so that no matter what life throws at you, you got it covered. And you know what, folks? When you have a year's worth of your living expenses sitting in an account that you don't touch, you kind of don't worry about the little things as much. You walk a little taller, your shoulders roll back a little bit more because no matter, like I said, what life throws at you, you have the ability to take that head on.
And you cannot, as we often say, put a price on peace of mind. And that will give you a lot of it there if you have that big emergency fund built for yourself, just as that cushion that you need in case something does happen. The number 3 mistake here is selling investments when markets swing. As we say it, Mike, don't try and time the market.
Yeah, no, I mean, people freak out. And the bottom line is that most investors are guided by emotion and not logic and not the understanding of how markets actually work, right? Markets are cyclical, which means they will go up and they will go down and they will go up and they will go down. But over time, and that's the key component, over time, the market has always gone up. Okay. Yes, this year, the stock markets got off to a rocky start, but it is definitely stabilized somewhat. And if you made reflexive reactions to the market volatility, especially a couple of weeks ago, when between a Friday and a Monday, I think the market lost about 6%. I know a lot of folks who went, and they moved into safe havens at that point in time, not understanding that the market will come back. And those folks, unfortunately, by the end of that next week, the market had gained everything that it had lost. So the people who freaked out, in essence, they locked in their loss and did not participate in the upswing, right? So those folks absolutely missed out on profits, and they can, believe it or not, repair that mistake.
Yeah, and that's 100% right. Mike, one of the things that you mentioned there is a lot of people may have pulled out of their investments and put that money into some safe havens somewhere. One of those places might have been under the mattress or something like that. But that actually leads us directly into this next mistake that we want you to avoid, which is staying in cash.
Yeah, so I talk to a lot of folks all the time, like not even a lot of the time, all the time, right? Who are stashing their earnings and they're putting them in vehicles like checking or savings account, maybe a money market account, maybe a CD, which before this year we've always called those certificates of depreciation or certificates of death, because they just haven't earned very much over the history of the last decade or so. Or what's worse, at home under the mattress, and in literal cash. I talked to a gentleman not too long ago who asked me to handle some of his money, and he brought in a suitcase with a whole bunch of money. We'll just put it that way, a whole 6 figures worth of cash that he had. And I'm like, how long have you had this in this suitcase? And he said probably 20 years. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, you lost out on 20 years worth of market growth. I mean, that is a tragedy in and of itself. So open up your mind, folks, to making your cash work harder by investing some of it.
Yeah, it's not working at all if it's just sitting in a suitcase or under the mattress or in a safe at home or whatever it might be. You got to put that money. You've worked so hard for it over the years. You want it to work as hard for you now, and that's part of paying yourself first, right? Investing in your future self, and future you will thank you so much for that. And I know somebody, by the way, who can help you along this route. And that is a good segue into the last mistake that we want you to make, because that guy's name is Mike Zaino. He happens to be the host of Money Matters with Mike. I don't know if it's a little radio show and podcast. I don't know if you've heard about it, but this mistake is going it alone. Definitely not what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when the topic of money became taboo, right? I know that there are families who never discuss money, and what they're actually doing is setting up their children and their descendants, right, for financial failure. I understand that money can be perceived as a deeply personal topic, but it really should not be. Not only excuse me, not only is it wise for us to engage in fruitful dialogue about our financial lives, but we should also be proactive and enlist the guidance of financial professionals, if especially if we want to make the best choices and implement the best strategies. All right, financial professionals do this day in and day out as their job, as their career choice. And you know what, the majority of them are experts in their field. If you do something every single day and you encounter countless different situations, then you know how to counsel a myriad of problems when it comes to people who have just different types of financial issues. So again, we want to offer every single one of our listeners a risk-free analysis, a consultation to help you understand the current risks that you're taking with your investments, to show you how your investments are all working together. And as always, like I stated before, there is no obligation and you are free. You are free to receive the information and use it as you wish.
And all you have to do to get started in that adventure and a positive experience, I'm sure, will be going to moneymatterswithmike.com. That's moneymatterswithmike.com. And you can schedule a consultation there.